There he is.
What
Hey
up?
guys, good
There he is.
morning. GM.
Are you jet lagged and exhausted from your kids and crazy travel?
I'm good actually. I got some sleep last night, and of course, it's good to see the family. So, yeah, I'm happy to be back. It was a good
I mean, I
trip,
was
though.
hoping to take advantage of your semi-lucid state here, so we'll
Okay,
see how
well,
we do.
the two toddlers have me trained, so I don't know if you're gonna,
Sure.
be able to crack me on this one. Unfortunately, how are you guys doing?
We're good, man. We're excited to dive in. So, Steven, you're the founder of Metaplex, the standard for tokens and NFTs and Solana. I think there's a quote here that said Metaplex has been used to create virtually all tokens and NFTs on the Solana blockchain. And my question is, really?
It's true. It's a lot of tokens. 20 million fungible tokens at this point, over 900 million NFTs. We're really fortunate to have been able to build since 2021 and support the best ecosystem in the world. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, and through a number of phases, like NFT era to meme coins to now the ICM era. So it rhymes, but always something new and interesting for us to dig into.
Have you done? Is that just because you like created the standards that these tokens are using, or is your infrastructure like powering them in some way?
It's a combination of the two. So we're known for creating the first NFT and token standard, so similar to ERC 20 or ERC 721, and then the Candy Machine program, which powered the big NFT boom in that first Solana bull market, really helped the standard become ubiquitous, and that became the social layer of the ecosystem that has now really allowed for capital and users to come in and support now like this next gen of technology products and entrepreneurs.
Got it.
So you guys have done a great job of sort of riding the various waves. So NFTs, meme coins. I think I reached out to you because of some of the tweets around internet capital markets today. I'm curious how you've been able to do that. Yeah, at whatever level you want to take that at.
I think you have to have conviction where your North Star is from a vision perspective. So like we really do take a sort of decade, 100-year view to building the protocol, but then you also have to follow the market. And so it's about having conviction of where you're going long term and then playing the short game. So I do think that's a big part of our culture is like there's a certain part of our work where it's always really building, setting ourselves up for that long term, but then also, meeting the market and finding where there's energy and jumping in with teams. And Genesis really, in many ways, our best ideas came from jumping in with these teams and R&Ding it together, understanding their needs. And so, that's also a big part of, our success has been able to just directly work with these teams and get inspiration from the problems they're dealing with now. Because,
Can we
for a
dive?
startup, that's what matters ultimately.
Yeah, and I'm interested in that because I think choosing well. So you can say, okay, we're going to be able to go get in with teams and start working with many teams, but there's a conviction that you have to go build there to actually go be a leader in any of these categories. And there's all sorts of narratives that emerge all the time. So is there something you've done culturally, structurally? How are you actually finding conviction in the narratives that you actually really want to double down in?
For Genesis specifically, it was DeFi tuna, portals, collector, crypt. We put a bat signal out when we saw these large celebrity token launches, the Libra token launches just explode. And it's terrible for the space. Like everyone gets it. Like it's not good for founders in the space. It's not good for builders. And so there was a lot of alignment around like coming together and figuring out how to fix that so that we can build trust and then real value around these assets ultimately. And so in that process, what we discovered is that there are different types of assets, different types of projects that have different goals. And there's a lot of complexity. And with token launches, you really do have to get all of the details right. And even if you're well intentioned, if there isn't transparency, people can't see the vesting contracts or where liquidity is going or why certain tokens are unlocked or these like slugs of tokens that go to market makers, or the exchange listing process. And so we had a chance to like really go deep with these teams and kind of get inside and obviously going through the process of our launching our own token, like a lot of learnings there and lessons that we've been able to pull into this work as well.
I mean, can you maybe put a finer point on what launching with Metaplex Genesis, like how that's different than just launching on Meteor or something?
Sure. Like the premise with Genesis is that we're building the on-chain economy, so we should launch our tokens on-chain. And the core value that's really driven the work is transparency. Like people are willing to play different games and sort of different mechanics for how tokens are launched, but everyone needs to know what the rules are and have an equal chance to participate. And so with Genesis, you have a set of smart contracts or an on-chain program that shows you exactly the sales mechanic. You can have a pre-sale, which is priced. You can have a launch pool, which guarantees allocation for anyone who wants to participate. Or you can have an on-chain auction, which allows larger funds that are creating valuations, are underwriting at specific levels to participate in size and know that it will clear. But the fundamental idea is that everyone has equal access. It's permissionless. Anyone can participate. And so that allows you to get a launch group that's not just getting you price discovery, but also helping rally the project through that next phase. And we've really seen that in these first few launches, where it's not just helping the token launch, it's actually helping get the word out about the product. And then that's cycling back into the fundamentals of the product where you're seeing usage and revenue increase. And like, that's the magic, actually. That's the real goal, is like, how do you create that incentive flywheel that's producing real fundamental growth in these products and these services?
I'm curious how you are defining ICM today, and what's the bull case you're operating on?
So I saw this earlier in the show with the Beanie take, and I actually think the core to ICM is around tokenizing revenue and real products that have value and are focusing on product market fit. And so I agree, there are a lot of projects that are LARPing as ICM and like are effectively meme coins, but our view is that ICM and the final meta is tokenizing all revenues, both the on-chain protocols, but also, media, IP, any technology venture can effectively tokenize its revenues on chain and use that as a system for capital formation and bring it to a global audience. So ICM then is the ability to participate in that market with an internet connection anywhere globally. And we really believe that's the future of entrepreneurship. That's the on-chain Silicon Valley that ultimately will mean that will cause these on-chain markets to win, and why we think that's inevitable.
I mean, where do you see the tokenizing of revenue actually going? Is it like, obviously today that's kind of buybacks and burns? I assume that's not where you see it going, or is it?
I think there are a few mechanics. There are advantages to the buyback and burn mechanism. It effectively increases the ownership stake of every holder. There are tax advantages for doing it in that way. But we've also seen a market for yield-bearing assets where either that's distributed to token holders, to stakers, it could be airdropped, it could be claimed. There are also like difficult mechanics around like automatically piping that revenue in real time. So actually a lot of the product work and kind of what we've been looking at on the research side is like, how do we make that really plug and play so that you can not only launch your token fairly, but then as your products start to generate revenue, being able to connect that directly back to the token itself.
And my pushback on using revenue here is that I think we've seen probably the most value in, say, equities driven off of growth to sort of become the monopolist in a category, and then sort of switching into buybacks. And so there's sort of these different phases that teams need to go through. And I think that the pushback you see on the timeline is that, giving back revenue to start when you should be investing in growth and market share and product development is maybe a EV negative thing over the long run. So I'm curious, do you sort of see these stages that people go through, or do you really see the end result being like, let's just get revenues on chain, do it quickly, and the value will sort of be a factor of that?
It's true. The value accrual mechanism really depends on the project and the stage of the project. And so there is a governance layer to this, which is it's important for, in these decentralized protocols, for token holders to participate in that conversation. So for MPLX, for instance, 50% of our revenues go to token buybacks, but the DAO is also able to vote and potentially redirect those funds if they felt it would be more efficient to do so otherwise. And so in a traditional equity market, you'd be looking at the valuation in the market, you'd be looking at a number of different factors to decide what mechanism you'd like to use or how to deploy that capital. And that's our view as well. It's like these projects should have tools available to them, but we wouldn't say that there's a one size fits all, that like everyone should be doing like this specific mechanic and that's going to work for every situation or every project.
I'm assuming you guys raised some private capital to kind of build this thing out and then kind of stepped into having a tokenized economy. Is that right? Or
we did. That's right. And we joke that like we obviously, if we had Genesis today, we would have used it to launch Metaplex. But that.
Okay, tell me more about that. I think that's actually really
Yeah.
interesting. Like what has shifted here that gives you confidence in going this new direction?
I think there are a couple advantages, which the first is that you are able to bring in holders that are really aligned with the vision, the mission, maybe have a connection to the team. They're using the product, they see the value, and they have an opportunity to participate and benefit as those platforms and that those technologies grow. And I think that's really profound that you're using a tool or a platform, and as you're using it, you have the ability to invest in its success over time. I think the second main advantage is just resilience in terms of the distribution of tokens. When you raise in private sales, you end up having very concentrated holders. And with tokens that are low volume, low liquidity, that creates really complicated mechanics, and it can really drag and be difficult to build momentum. And then it also sort of puts the team in a position where they have to deal with this sort of political game around the token holders, instead of just focusing on building their product and focusing on their vision. And so I do think there's a big advantage to the distribution and the alignment.
Is it just a technology change that would enable you to do it today? I mean, part of me thinks that there's just this demand that exists now, which means that founders should have more confidence in being able to go to the public markets earlier with these tokens. And that clearly wasn't the case, say, 2 years ago or at various stages of the crypto market. So is it like regulation and demand that's more of a driver here, or the technology?
I would say it's both. Having a performant blockchain that's permissionless, where you can deploy the contracts and anyone can participate, like that only has just started to be an option for founders. And there's still a lot of work to make that really competitive and efficient. And so, the fundraises and the initial capitalization of many of these crypto projects were done pen and paper. It's off chain. And so the ability to actually launch these assets on chain is just being made available, and we're really seeing the uptick in the response to that. It's actually been quite overwhelming, where we have projects coming to us wanting to launch, and it's not just not wanting to do like the private raising, but not wanting to launch on centralized platforms, like wanting to do it with their communities on chain. And we're seeing the energy and the momentum that builds for the projects and the founders.
We're here for that.
Yeah, I think I saw the next ICO you guys have coming up is dm.fun. I'm wondering why people should take a look at that.
It's a great project, and it's a great team. Like we're joking, these are the NFT devs from that first run, like now coming into the token markets. Magica Labs is an exceptional team. If you participated in any of those large NFT projects, they were likely part of that in terms of building allow lists and helping create hype for those launches. And so they really understand the social layer. Exceptionally skilled team. And what they've built is a chat for every token and a way to create community when the token first launches. So in terms of like making on-chain competitive, this provides a really important pillar, which is, okay, you're raising to this direct community financing on chain, and now you can like jump straight into chat and start to engage and build with these people.
All right, we need to let you go, but you need to introduce us to the dm.fun team so we can get them on and hear more about it ahead of their launch. I think
100%.
October 21st, the pre-sale goes live. I love this. I went to their website and I just made me click around a lot and ineffectively. So thank you for that. And then the bio here is from the Metaplex Labs team, no CA. I'm like, now that, I guess that changes on the 21st, man. Stephen, man, I appreciate this. I think I very much see sort of this thesis that we've been building and investing along just continue to grow. It gets called new things all the time, but that through line of, I think, free markets, broader access, removing of the middleman just continues to grow in importance and become more and more real.
So transparency. I think that transparency piece is huge.
100%. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Love what you do, and yeah, of course, we'll make sure we can get the dm.fun team, the Magica Labs team on here as well.
Awesome, man. All right, brother. Good luck with the family, and $2.5 million in protocol revenue in September.
Cooking.
GG.
That's right. Just getting started, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Peace, man.
Bye.